Like, it's some really good questions I saw pop
Yeah,
up,
I
man.
was
I
I was
kind of
just
want to
about
do
to do
that Q
that.
and A for
Yeah,
sure.
let me scroll back up. So from flow underscore n underscore
Uh-huh.
motion.
Mhm.
I'll go ahead and read them out. Thank y'all
Okay.
for putting this on. Frank Cooker, given the unprecedented situation, do you think
Mhm.
the sneaker corporations will start to see the value of the smaller guys, aka the mom and pop shops? So like the spots like Walters that I know that you be raving about, like, yo, why can't they get these releases? What does that look like for you?
Analog is the new digital, man. You got to go to the people. One thing I want people to know, like, from this whole situation, is that now you know that you control the dollar, you control the flow of the economy. So, get behind these smaller brands, these smaller stores, and
Yeah.
and now it's like, oh, like, these are the people that actually care about me, who care about what I have in my community, who actually, if you think about a Walters, those, I mean, come on, those dudes been working there since they were 16, and
Yeah,
they're in their
man.
40s. You know what I'm saying? And he held them down, and he was really part of the community, and they're really a part of us. I mean, you think about all the, I think villas and all them. They got it right where they hire within the neighborhood. That's a
Yeah.
smart thing to do. Shout out to,
Villa, that's
Shoe
out of
Palace does the same
PA, right?
thing. Yeah, Shoe Palace on the West Coast does the same thing. They go into neighborhoods where people wouldn't. And so that's what you have to do. It starts with your community. It starts with the urban dollar, and it's so strong. The urban
Mm,
dollar is so strong. I mean, and there's so many good creators because we live it. I mean, look at a Joe Fresh Goods. He went up against a Jordan and a Nike with a New Balance, and his resold more than the Off Whites.
mm-hmm.
Because you know why? He had the people behind him. It was a great story, great colorway, great materials, and it was authentic, man. It was grassroots.
Right.
You know what I mean?
All right. Let's see.
What better?
Sid the Gent. I hope I
Mhm.
pronounced that right. For smaller brands, what are your thoughts on wholesale opportunities or staying direct to consumer?
Man, definitely. Right now, this is a time that we're all kind of uncertain, man. But I would definitely do direct to consumer, man, because with kind of terms net 30, you never know how the money's gonna flow in right now. You know what I mean? Like, you never know. Like, you just never know. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think DTC is kind of like the best. Um, if I'm thinking logically right now, would probably be the best way to go. Yeah,
Word.
shouts out to Chili too, man. Legend.
Chili, yo. That was another
Chili,
genuine guy, man, who,
still
when,
is so
yeah.
genuine. I just talked to him the other day. It's like Chili. He always sees further than what people understand. Those nights in Sound Table where he's just in your ear telling you, dropping gems, like, that's,
And you kind of like, yo, what's my man even talking about? And
but it's
then,
lit. And now he's like,
yeah.
yeah, I've been knowing this stuff that in the '90s, brother.
Yeah, Homeboy is like one of the most genuine OGs in Atlanta,
Absolutely.
man. And I need to connect with him again, man, because
Right.
what he did was beautiful. A question that I actually want to take up. Just joined. This is from
Hmm.
World of
Yeah, I
AC.
was reading that too.
Yeah, just joined in as a music artist that wants to work with brands that align with my story.
Mhm.
I'm interested in how artists should approach brand creatives, do's and don'ts. Let,
Um.
let me let me tackle this
Okay.
one real quick, and then
Mhm.
I'll tap you in, man. Like, so I've had the experience just with, obviously we're running on the road for the last 10 years that there's all artists are always saying like, yo, like I want to do this for you, or like give me some free stuff and I'll promote or I'll wear it at my show, right? And so, I mean, on one end, like, yeah, like there is value that you have
That
as an
works.
artist because there's exposure that's there.
Hmm.
But I would encourage you, man, to consider it as just as much as you want someone to treat your art with respect, like treat that other person's brand with the same integrity. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
I agree that. Agree
And
with that.
consider like how can this be a win-win, like don't look at it like bring a plan to that brand, like, yo, I seen what you were doing with this collection of these designs. These are some things that I'm thinking about for the projects that I'm releasing.
Hmm.
How can we actually leverage each other's platforms? So going to them with the actual plan and not just give me some free stuff like that. I'm always interested in having those conversations.
Well, it depends too, right? Because it depends on what it is. Because I remember, that's kind of how Pink Dolphin became Pink Dolphin. They sending people on
Yeah.
tour, boxes and boxes of stuff, and on tour it gets kind of crazy. So let me throw this jacket on, and then somebody records it. So Pink Dolphin had that product, that seeding marketing
Right.
is what pushed them to be like who they were. Like you got to think about like a Slow Bucks. Remember Slow Bucks? Like it was the same way. You will always see those snail T-shirts everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So I think it goes hand in hand. But again, you do have to align with the brand that makes sense for you. And I think also taking a chance on your own brand. Like look at it.
Your own merch development. Yeah.
Yeah, because look at Trav, man. Like, we had pop-ups before Trav was as big as he is now. But, like, even I look back at some of those old T-shirts, like Hell of a Night T-shirts with the crashed Lamborghini on the front. Like, you have to take those risks. And, like, look how big he's gotten. And, like, that right there is a story of authenticity and him always being loyal to his fans and being loyal to, who he is, man. I remember when he first came to the shop and he did that in-store, man, he was like literally on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And kids signing kids' faces and, it wasn't a lot of people there, but it was like you could tell how engaged he was.
Yo, they got some questions come. There's two that I want to make sure that we get to. One is that last one. Remember Fly Pelican, why do you think a brand like that failed? I'll say this, like, I don't know any of those guys personally, Frank. I don't know if you do. What I will say is that, and I'm pretty sure, Frank, you would agree with this. You can never get past integrity. Doing good business, that's always going to be your best go-to. You know what I'm saying? And so whenever you find yourself in situations where you have the opportunity to compromise, but it's at the expense of someone else. Like, if you may get a short-term win, but you're always going to end up, like, that's going to come back to haunt you. And just for clarity, that's not saying that that's what happened with that brand. I'm just saying with companies and brands in general.
Well, also, I think
integrity always comes back to get you.
I think brands grow. I think people go in a different direction. There's business. There's a lot of different things that could happen that can kind of alter, what's going on. And I think, something like a Fly Pelican, is very ahead of its time, in taking those risks, in being like a local brand like that. It took courage to do that, to take it from New York or from any other places and bring that kind of thing down. I don't think that was a fail for them. I think they grew.
Yeah.
That was ahead of its time. I remember Cats was like, yo, what's going on?
And that's a good point, because like a lot of times, especially as creatives, we think like if the one idea that we start with, if we don't stay at that particular place, then that's a fail. Like learning to pivot is important. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So your initial idea, like you said, you're going to grow as a human being. You're going to grow as a business owner, as a creative. And so you got to be willing to pivot and move as needed.
Absolutely. Boyko official.
That was the next one I was about to get to. I'll let you tackle that one, bro.
You can read it, but I got to think on it for a second.
All right.
Yeah, think about the right way to say this.
Frame that one.
Right.
Yeah, so shout out to the question from Boyko official. Do y'all think brands like Kith and Leon Dore, that one, pay homage to the Black culture, or do y'all feel like they're just profiting off our culture? Keep it a buck.
So I always keep it a buck. You know what I mean? So first off, with retail, right? Nobody can do it like Ronnie, right? Ronnie is the epitome of a great merchandiser. His brand, building a brand, his collaborations, just where he's at in the city. He's in New York, right? So he's in the most, I would say, plentiful, most in tune kind of city in the world, right? Who knows about things. And then you take a Teddy, who's Ame Leon Dore, is just like, ALD is just amazing. Like, he's taking that formula kind of like a Polo and taking what streetwear is and kind of elevate what a basic is and elevate materials and elevate. I don't think there's anybody who can curate a space and a feeling like him. Like, if you walk in there and there's an old NBA Jordan game playing from NBC, and
Yeah.
the Jordan 4s OG that's cracking, and the music and the playlist
Even their
and
social
the
presence and how
incense,
they're able to communicate
right,
that, be it social without even stepping foot in the store.
right, and the incense and just the whole way that he just brings that whole culture to you. Cats like Moonshine, like Moon with that whole like apartment for B, like setting that whole feeling is what I think Ronnie and Teddy do best.
Yeah.
As far as the culture, I feel like, they definitely have the support of New York. They definitely have the support of a lot of people who they're at top tier retail, and
Yeah.
I don't know as far as his community efforts. I can't speak on that, but like, I think you definitely have to tap into the community, whether that's high or low level, you know what I'm saying? Or, you can't forget about the people that are there on a daily,
That's a fact.
But I think that they are definitely the top tier when it comes to, retail for sure.
Nah, that's dope, man.
Mm-hmm.
Want to get another couple more in.
Okay.
PBM, SCG. When your brand gets exposure, what are the necessary steps to keep the momentum?
I think always reinventing, you always have to keep it fresh. People just they get used to something and used to a routine, but you have to always keep it fresh, man. You have to give them new things to think about. Always giving them, the newest, whether that's collaboration or, again, taking a chance on something that people might not be up on,
Yeah.
But I definitely think storytelling and having that cohesiveness of a collection has always proven to work the best.
Word.
Mm-hmm.
Saint Germain. Do you think luxury brands are watering down streetwear? So I want to give a thought and then I'll pass it off to
Okay.
you. I think that even when you start going back to guys, like Dapper Dan, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's always been this element. I mean, even when we started talking about hip hop in general or R&B, like
Right.
you can't get around the reality that in America, we have played a huge hand in creating culture.
Absolutely.
And then also that
Everything.
you can't, yeah, exact facts. And then also the reality that European Americans have done a very good job historically at taking from cultures of people of color, African Americans, Hispanics, the list goes on and on. So in saying that, I think that what we have seen, at least like over the last 8 years of luxury brands and some of the things that they have, for some would say hijack from the streetwear culture. I mean, I think that there's a reality that's there, and I think that there's also, you got to give space for people to be inspired, right? So there are things that I get inspired by other brands or by other industries, right? That's not me like taking advantage of them. That's
Fadia in the
me.
building.
You said what happened?
Fadia in the building.
Fadi, what's happening?
Uh-oh, she's in the building. The GOAT.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I think that there's a healthy tension of there's a reality of luxury brands taking advantage and exploiting the actual culture, right? And speaking of culture, African American experiences, people of color experiences, right?
Well,
go ahead.
There's a balance, right?
Right, there is a balance to that.
Because there's a balance of, as kings and queens naturally, we like luxury things, right?
Right.
And so Dapper Dan tapped into I would the fabrics that he used and the names, the Louis Vuittons, the Gucci's, he knew the silhouettes that people loved in the hood.
Yeah.
But Gucci and Louis, they just weren't producing it. You know what I'm saying? And so he found a way to tap into, again, entertainment, and he tugged at the heartstrings of, people in the hood, And for me, I think with the whole streetwear and luxury thing right now, as it is, shouts out to Virgil, being in the position that he's in, bringing, his street kind of influence into it. But to me, I focus more on the front row at the shows, right? Because you look up and you see a Bari at Dior, or you see all these people like the Kanye's, like how hard it was probably 10, 12 years ago for Kanye to get into a Louis Vuitton show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He couldn't just walk into a Louis Vuitton show. It wasn't happening like that. So the fact that they see us now, but they have to do it in the right way to pay homage, and they also have to give us credit for what we do. You know what I'm saying? And what we bring to the table, because again, a lot of times what we can get caught up in is like celebrating these brands or marketing these brands for a seating kit. Like, no, you should get paid because it's marketing. You know what I mean? And you would charge your mans if you had to wear a shirt.
How has that been
But
for
you
you?
wouldn't charge
Like,
Louis Vuitton.
you operate in space a lot, right? Like,
Yeah.
so how, and I know just, what's your time like? 'Cause I know we come on an hour. You got like another 10?
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay. How have you navigated those waters of being fairly compensated for your intellectual property and your ideas with some of these other bigger brands?
I think, right now I'm in a different kind of state, right? Because I had so much experience, one at retail, one at kind of like owning a brand, right? And then kind of like working for a big corporation, right? So I've seen the whole kind of gambit, like, from wholesale to retail, from idea to retail, you know what I mean? Design to retail. So now I know how everything pretty much works from wholesale to retail, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, the intellectual property to me, I know people, they get paid for it and all, but like, if I can inspire the next kid.
What better?
Sup. Yeah, I didn't realize that, appreciate everyone checking back in. There's yo.
Don't worry, we back.
Back. Yo, I didn't realize that it cuts off after hours. So this is what D Nice was going through.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, we back we had a fresh hour. We got a fresh
There
one.
we
But
go.
My whole thing is like, back on that is just like,
Hold on real quick. Hey, yo, if your question didn't get answered yet, do us a favor and go ahead and repost it in there, because they've all kind of gone, the questions disappeared. So old questions, new questions, go ahead and drop it in.
that's all good. Where's Shep?
Chef Boogie in there.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, the compensation, if the next man can or woman, they can get their ideas out and get compensation for it, I'm down for the intellectual property. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's tons of sneakers that made millions, but it was the experience of it all and knowing the learning process and the learning curve, that kind of that was a currency to me. That's just kind of good dude I am. Like, money's cool and all, but it gives you options. It's not everything. It just gives you options.
Yeah. Change is cool to cop, but more important is lawyer fees. There we go.
Absolutely. Your freedom, your state of mind is power to me.
That's what's up, man. Like, and I think like what's so important about
What's up to Emily?
Word. I think one of the things that was so important about what you just said was that, like, there's a reality that none of us are ever going to really be paid what we're worth. Like, our personal value, like, extends so much past a dollar sign. You know what I mean? So, there are other ways for us to be enriched past a check. Now, that doesn't mean that we should start doing stuff for free, but it is to say that, especially like I said, like that progress from you starting out as a sales associate at Wish and then going through all these different transitions and changes, like you just didn't end up where you're at right now on accident. You know what I'm saying? Like you were willing to go through that process. you know, and so like that, you know, while people are still joining in and, you know, some questions are still coming in, like one of the last things I want to ask you, like just like for this season of life that you're in right now, like
Mm-hmm.
both personally and creative, like what does the process of excellence look like for this season of life for you?
For where I am today, excellence looks like the youth, and for minorities to actually have their voices be heard and creativity to be seen. That's what excellence looks like to me. Like if I am in this position just for me, what am I
Yeah,
actually doing? You know what I'm saying? Like I can't, be designing shoes and doing all this, and if I'm not breaking down barriers for other kids to come in with their face tattooed or their head tattooed or look like me, then what am I actually doing?
that's a
And that's
fact.
excellence to me. You know what I'm saying? For
That's
sure.
dope, man. That's dope, man. Yeah, man. I mean, we still people are still coming in and joining,
It's
man. So
cool.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
yo, like, what do you? I know I asked you a ton of questions, so
Mhm.
while people are still joining in and asking questions, do you got
Yo, TJ in
anything?
here. Uh,
Yeah.
Shout out to TJ. Go ahead.
Let me see. Yo, it's Air Max Day as well, right?
Oh, it is Air Max Day, huh?
Yeah. What do you is there a favorite Air Max that you got to as a go to?
I love Air Max ones. I don't wear them as often, but I love Air Max ones. I think I remember that first release of the Air Max one that had that Vault tooling that came out
Mm-hmm.
that first Air Max day. I think that was like one of the best executions. I remember how that was the first time somebody ever tracked a FedEx package to Wish. Like this dude was like,
Word.
"That's it. It's actually in that truck right there," and I was like, "Oh shit, this man is on it." I like the energy that Air Max Day brings. I kind of think it's watered down right now, just because. I mean, I think right now this is like one of the toughest ones, of course, because you have to be engaged in it. But I mean,
Right.
think about how Air has really changed the game. Like Air is everything to sneakers, man, and it's like so innovative and it's so different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's definitely a day to be celebrated. I've always liked 10/18. I'm just biased because October 18th I think should be a Jordan Day, but that's just me. You know what I mean? I think they should celebrate that one day. But um, yeah, man, shouts out to Ticker and just that innovation is forever, and he's the true goat, man. You know what I mean? Him. Also, if y'all don't know about Wilson Smith, man, like a black designer who did all the Agassi shoes, the Jordan
Mm.
16, the Jordan 17, the Air More. These are shoes that he's made, man, and they're just amazing. I mean, E. Scott, man, like he did the Shark and a lot of cleated stuff, man. He's a
Yeah.
legend. He did a bunch of the stuff with like Emmett Smith. Like
Yeah.
you got to look up these black designers, man, and sneaker designers that have been killing it. Like my brother Jay May,
Yo, what are
Jason
some black
Maiden.
designers that if people don't know about, like, yeah, list a couple of those off that people
Yeah, E.
should you would
Scott,
encourage people to do their homework.
Jason Maiden, man, the list goes on, man. Shoot, like I said, Wilson, like he just is amazing, man. Like I love all his Agassi projects. Like doing all that is crazy to me, and like I think he's right up there with Tinker, but I don't know if people actually know that.
Word.
Joe Fresh
Joe
good, shouts
Fresh,
out.
yes, Joe
Yeah.
Fresh.
See, the thing about Joe, we carried him in Wish when it was Dope Boy Magic. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I mean the authentic stories that he told. I remember one of these pieces that he had. Remember that sweatsuit we had where it had everything, like all the different brands on one? Like I
yeah,
think that he kind of mastered that a little bit earlier than a lot of people, and his storytelling is amazing. And he doesn't give a fuck. Like
yeah,
that's what I love about him most. He believes in everything that he does to the fullest extent, and he has the people behind him because the stories are so real.
yeah,
He made that switch up. He had some stuff coming out with Adidas, and then he's just switched it up and showed you a pinky ring from New Balance. Like, and then it got it popping in his own city. And shouts out to like Vic Lloyd
yeah.
and leaders and Corey and Rello and the culture that Chicago brings, like that's like my second home, and I owe them so
Bruh,
much because Corey
Chicago.
taking the chance to be the Corey Gilkey to and Jeff and Al and Zoe and man Vel, all them dudes out there, man. Those dudes are like legends in retail,
Yeah.
and I paid them so much homage, man, because they inspire me so much. Chicago just, I mean, it's so rich in soul, it's so rich in music, it's so rich in culture that Chicago is it.
2007, I think. So my pops, he's originally from Chicago, right? And I went up there for Christmas in 2007. Shout out my boy D Win. He just popped in. Seeing like Sir, I know you're familiar like with Sir Madam and Brian and them over there. Like I remember that
RSVP.
RSVP, all of that, man. Like, and specifically at that period of time, I mean, again, this is when street culture was still like a bubbling thing, like in the neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? And going to Chicago and being at those parties, being at the boutiques, like I said, like leaders. I mean, there was a ton of joints where it was just like, there was so much culture that was happening there. And
amazing.
The energy in Chicago was what inspired me to start Honor Roll. Like the stories that people were telling just by the lifestyle alone. It was like, I gotta figure out a way how to do this. And I still think Chicago doesn't get the credit that they deserve. Man. Like Chicago, man, they influence a lot.
Yeah, Easy, he has his own gallery now, like art gallery, and he's dabbling in that. So it's just like, I mean, Don, list goes on, man. There's so much inspiration, man. I just remember going to, like you said, those parties, and my man Vic used to throw a Sunday night, and to see him with his shirt off up there, like rocking on a Sunday night was just amazing to me, like and Chicago is one of those places where if you're authentic and you stay in your lane and you are who you are, they rock with you, man. And I appreciate that. It's like a second home to me because, again, it's so rich, and I'm so thankful for those guys. Like I said, like the success and all that.
St. Alfred's.
St. Alfred's, like shouts out to Dave, like what I mean. Like he kills it. Like they have like that whole Japan-based buy that people wasn't really on. It's crazy.
That's what's up, man. Man. Real quick, I know we about 10 minutes over. Does anyone got any last questions for myself, for Frank, or just for the conversation before we tap out? Like we'll give a couple minutes to kind of let those flow in. But while we're waiting on that, I do just want to say, man, how much I appreciate you.
Oh no, I appreciate you, man, for sure. This was fun. This is my first time actually on live.
Word.
I never went live before.
Likewise. And I think like
live.
It's a great opportunity, like I said, like just to be able to engage people. I mean, like what we were doing every quarter was a fashion business panel called Closed Minded, where we were having people come and kind of talk about their experiences, within the industry, and to give creatives in the city just some insight. And so clearly we can't do that anymore, or at least for the foreseeable future. So we wanted to create a opportunity platform to be able to do some of this. So like, we'll be, hopefully we'll be able to circle back around with you at another point. Hopefully we'll be able to bring Fadi in. We got one of my guys from Foot Locker who's going to be chiming in. We got some people from the Whitaker Group who are going to be chiming in as well. You know what I mean? So, so all right, cool. We got a few more questions that just came in.
To Frank elaborate on feeling of achieving that dream job with Jordan, but later making the decision to leave it. What brought the change? I'll touch on that one. For me, Jordan was a blessing, man. Like you said, like a dream job. I remember my man Gmo was like, "Yo, I went in there as a part-time employee." So I wasn't a full-time employee, and he was like, yo, you got 6 months, to turn up, and then we'll make a decision. So I'm like, okay. But, when Gmo was just like, hey, they have these things called CADs, which are like blank, silhouettes of all the Jordans, like on the computer screen. And I wasn't like the best in you know, either Photoshop or Illustrator, you know, but I had to learn more. I don't know all the shortcuts. Shouts out to my man Izzy, who's like a wizard on that joint. Izzy is like a master on color and just all around talent, right? But for me, you know, when Gmo was like, "Yo, you got this thing called a look see, and you can get samples," and I was just like, "So you mean I can color up any Jordan and get it back in 6 to 8 weeks? A sample?" So then I just, you
That's
know,
crazy.
for me, it was just like locking in. I was just like, "Yo, I'm gonna lock in. Like, I can make this, and this should have come back. So this is crazy." So I just started like that Kanye, look what he said, lock yourself in the room doing 5 beats a day for 3 summers. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
just locked in on that. But you know, for me, where it kind of got difficult, you know, if I could be perfectly candid or honest here, is it's like the navigation through the matrix of it all. You know what I mean? Like the
When you say the
actual,
Matrix, what do you mean the Matrix?
I mean, just navigating in corporate life. You know, I'm coming from the boutique life where, you know, some of those Vegas trips, or like, you know, where
Yeah.
you get these authentic stories because it is so off the cuff, or it is so raw. It's so, and it's a certain kind of way that you have to handle yourself within corporate. And I don't know if, you know, the things that you necessarily see kind of, how can I say it? If they
Translates?
go, if it kind of translates to how you should navigate, right? So the thing that you brought me in for is the thing that you could, you know, possibly not like, you know, and so
Yeah.
it's different for me. You know, there's some things where, you know, I thought,
It's like
you know,
I want you to have a seat at the table to bring your ideas, but then what happens? Ideas start bumping up against our corporate sensibility.
perfect way to put it. You know what I mean? And I'm not mad at that. I don't think, you know, but it's a way to navigate. And so, like, you know, just, you know, as I left, now I can see, because like my head was down. Now I can see this kind of more aerial view of the industry and how it works.
Yeah.
And you know, like I was a kid just in there, excited to be there. You know, would I do some things differently? Absolutely. You know, it's some things like, you know, leaking shoes to me wasn't for me to get the clout. It was for me to say, I love, hey, when I get a response, like, hey, these are trash. So
Yeah.
if the people are saying that they're trash,
It's a heat
why
check.
would I make them?
It's a
It's
good
a
heat
heat
check to
check.
see.
It's a heat
Yeah.
check. So I'm not leaking shoes for my own clout, or I'm not leaking shoes to, you know, be the man in sneakers, because, you know, I've always had sneakers. I've always loved the culture, and I'm always going to be a part of the culture no matter what brand I'm at, you know. But it's just like, at the end of the day, these are practices that I had to think like, okay, damn, you can't leak a shoe because this is a billion-dollar company. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's some things that I would have done differently. But again, the hardest thing was kind of navigation and also mentorship, you know, like, you
Bruh.
know, reaching out, like, you know, once you make it to the top, are you really helping people that's below you?
Let's talk about that real quick. Like that mentor mentee relationship in the industry. I mean, that was one of the things that came up at the Atlanta streetwear meetup situation, right? Was it felt like that there was a disconnect between people who specifically from like Atlanta had made it, and
Mm-hmm.
their willingness to come back and actually support and give out like real opportunities and real looks to people within the city. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm of the belief that, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you can't depend on anyone else to get you hot. Like, you got to do the work yourself. And then also what's true is no one ever gets to this ideal place of success on their own. Like you talked about earlier, like, it takes a community. What has been
Absolutely.
your experiences like with mentorship? And then even for you, like, how do you feel like you've been able to engage other young designers and creators
Yeah,
to help
no.
develop them?
I mean, this right here alone, like what we're doing now, is like one of the things that, you
Yeah.
know, that I always want to be able to do. Like, I don't always have to be on a hype beast or a high snob to get my point across. You know, for me, this is like grassroots. This is what it is, you know. And when it came to mentorship, like, I've had some mentors, like, you know, my uncle Larry, like, you know, he was very instrumental in my career and next steps, and you know, telling me how to, you know, kind of have this kind of poise, right? You know,
Yeah.
not wearing my heart on my sleeve and getting so passionate about what I'm passionate about. I think the hardest part about it, in the matrix and navigating too, is like, how do people that don't live it tell you about you?
Mm.
Like, let that sink in a little bit. Like, you know, we talking about marketing in the city, you sending people out to visit the city to see what's hot, but I live it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, that's the hardest part about it all too. You know, it's like how do they tell you about you in
Yeah.
marketing? You know, and so again, um, I feel like a corporate job is very necessary just for you to know, you know, how things work and how the world works. But you know, it's different, man. A lot of people say you just got to play the game, but like, how do you play the game? There's no rules,
Yeah.
right?
Yo, one thing I think that is, I want to highlight this.
Mm-hmm.
Mar YGW Frank. Sometimes I feel like you're my virtual mentor.
Mm-hmm.
You drop so many gems on your stories, and I truly appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think,
Oh, Danny Charman's in the building too. Shouts out. Man, Danny is like, she's just the ultimate mom, the ultimate creative. Um, Style is impeccable. Like, she's it. So shouts out to Danny. Shouts out to Isaiah. Man, great people there.
that's what's up, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, nah. I just wanted to read that and make sure that you got your flowers, man.
No, for sure, for sure. I appreciate that, man. For real, Mar. Like, you know, and that's what it's kind of all about, man. Like, you know, I'm taking these experiences and I'm trying to get the comment thing down. Okay, there we go. I said hi. I had to say hi. It's taking these experiences and just, you know, again, just making sure that everybody knows, like, if I had to take those bullets at, you know, corporate and like take those arrows, I will, for this culture, because I think
Yeah,
that, you know, it's so many talented people that just don't get recognized. Or again, so many people hit me up like, yo, Frank, you know, I have a resume and I have this, and like, you know, learn how to resume build. And it's like a little bit more like, a lot of times they post jobs, but those jobs get like to people in internal first. So
yeah,
like, it's hard. Shouts out to Free. Oh man, Bart in here too. It can get interesting. Shouts out to Bart. Shouts out to my man Free, man. He's you know, just an OG with that art, you know, that art mind, man. He was on there a long time ago. Shouts out to my man. I mean, what he's done in the sneaker industry, and he built and one. He's
yeah.
the one that initially did and one mixtape. Shouts out. You know what I mean? Shouts out
Yeah,
to Free.
yeah.
Shouts
Shout
out
out
to
to
Bart.
Bar as well. Like, he had me on the Dash Radio show when we did the release back in
Yeah.
February. And those dudes,
You know
him,
why I love
KO,
Bart?
like, they showed mad love, super
KO's the
love.
man too. You know why I
Yo,
love Bart? Bart is a no man. Bart will tell you when shit is trash, when you're trash, when anything is trash. I love Bart because that's the true temperature check. Because if he think it's wet, it 9 times out of 10 it probably is.
yeah, my man kept it like, and and you say, like, you know, like, being around like me and Shep and
No
Chris,
filter
we,
whatsoever.
yeah, like, we try to keep it as honest as possible. And like, that was just like super refreshing being able to go to that show. And like, we were specifically talking about the hoodie that we just did, the anti PWI joint. I know me and you had a
Mhm.
conversation about that, and just like the level of candor that was on that show, man, you know,
Right.
yeah, it was dope. Yo, Bart, do me a favor, in the comment section, drop your IG link to your show so people could to know to check that out on Thursdays.
Yeah, I definitely want to check that out when I'm back in the A for sure. I definitely
Yeah,
want to
man. Nah, it was a
do
dope
that.
experience, man. Let me see who else we got here. Bridging the gap. Oh, what was my man Picasso? Where's the joint at? Oh yeah, Picasso underscore J. He sounds like a young kid, you know, so definitely want to
Hmm.
make sure we got his question answered. What is some advice a 19-year-old aspiring to be part of the marketing consulting industry with fashion brands and just
Mm-hmm.
gaining some experiences at such a early stage in the game?
I think for me, the biggest part, I had that blessing of being a buyer. So, you like a lot of the shows, like Magic and getting to know my friends who were other buyers and store owners, and just seeing what they're doing, and really building the relationships. I can't stress that enough. The relationships, man. I wouldn't be where
Can't get
I
around
am
that,
today
man.
if it wasn't for those, and people helping me out with that. So it's definitely building relationships. And my boy Easy always told me something, man. Pull up.
Bro,
Like if something's going on,
you
pull
took the
up.
thought right out of my head.
Yeah, man. Like
I know like a
my man
lot of the
Easy told me that,
relationship.
like, if you're not getting it done if you're not pulling up, man. So I think
Yeah.
that's one heavy thing that you should do. Definitely if you have the chance, it's a blessing to be able to go to Paris if you can, or back when you've been there when Vegas was Vegas, man. Like shit.
Yes.
Like and I think like Complex Con doesn't get enough props, man. Like I've never
Yeah.
been to a place where you could just pull up on Nigo, Pharrell, Offset, any any of these people, a Travis Scott is walking around, or like, I've never been to something like that. So I think, I don't think Complex Con gets enough credit, and people like worry a lot about the releases and what's happening there. And I think once Nike pulled out, people were just like kind of over it, or like. But the best one to me was like Chicago, because it was like people were actually copping
Yeah.
and really like being into the art and being into it. That's one of the best ones I've ever been to, was Chicago for sure. But yeah, I mean, pull up, man. That's all I can say. Good relationships and pull up. Frank,
Yo,
been rocking with your wave since you sold me the hundreds fitted at Wish and Genuine Convo when I came back for that play closing Wish New Era. Oh man, thank you so much, man. Like those were the golden days, man, where that was true underground streetwear. It was a amazing time, man, and I appreciate the love. And you even like, we talking about a hat, man, and like
yeah.
that hat had that opportunity was so. I'm so thankful. Shouts out again to Dre, Ari, Hutch, that whole foundation group. Like those people inspire me so much. Jordan and all those dudes, man. I'm just super thankful.
Yo, one more thing to Picasso J, and this is to Frank's point.
Say so
Like,
too.
you have to be willing to invest in yourself, and
Yeah.
that sometimes it's gonna look like time and even dollars, and going places where you may not necessarily have an end. Right. So what Frank was talking about initially was, I would go to to Magic trade show back in like the 2010, 2011, and
Mm-hmm.
I would go and just walk the floor. Now in that instance, it worked out because Frank was able to give me a pass to get in. But sometimes, like, there's been a number of shows that I've gone to, specifically textile shows, to where like not like I'm financing my whole situation, right? So, and that had everything to do with me enriching myself. Like, I wasn't waiting for anyone else to give me a pass. Like, I was going to do this and utilize whatever resources I have.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
specifically for you, bro, I want you to take a look at Ad Color Conference, as well as Culture Con. I know that these are both conferences that take place, and they're probably going to be rolling out some digital stuff. So being willing to even see if you can volunteer and intern at some of these places, like those
And
are opportunities, man, that while you're young, you have the space to kind of to live through. So
yeah, absolutely.
I would encourage you to do that, man. Like, figure out a way to make yourself useful in those particular spaces.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Man, this has been a blessing. Like, again, so many people, so many influential people have came through to this session, man, and I'm just super thankful, man. Again, I think this is a wonderful opportunity, man, and I appreciate you even, considering me on this, and again, I guess the last few words, man, is just like, to all the people that's like in this room, like right now we're going through something very hard, very different,
Yeah.
What I'm saying? And right now is the time to innovate. It's the time to
Yeah.
believe in yourself. If you never did something that you wanted to do, I say do it, because again, right now we on punishment for something we ain't even do.
He was on a
We going to
permanent
be for
lockdown
a
saying
crime
like,
you
do
ain't even
not come out the
commit.
room.
And nobody knew that would ever happen, So
Yeah.
now, Lord willing, we all make it out of here safe. We all make it out of here healthy, and then when we're on the other side, man, learn to appreciate those around you. Appreciate, all the moments, and most of all, believe in yourself.
Yeah.
If no one else, believe in who you can be, and believe in any idea that you want to do it, because like I said, tomorrow's not promised, and we never thought we would be in this situation again. I am happy to be in these times. I am excited to be in these times. What a time to be alive,
What
whether
a
it's good,
time.
whether it's good or it's bad. What a time to be alive. I never thought in my, 33, 34 years of living would I ever see Times Square with nobody in it in the middle of the day, or the Vegas Strip shut down. I think that is crazy. But
Yeah.
again, I'm thankful for it all. I know we'll get through this. We'll all be better in the end. And wait till you see the
Afterwards.
oh my goodness,
It's
people
gonna
gonna
be
come out here and chop their heads
crazy.
off. You feel
This
me?
is the
People gonna
time
be
to be
coming out
picking
here.
up and putting that plan together, man.
What?
Because when
People gonna come
people
out
start
here.
coming outside,
I'm so excited to
come on.
see what people have in store. It's gonna
Don't
be
let this
crazy.
time, like, don't just veg out on Netflix and just be sleeping all day. Like, this is the
Absolutely.
opportunity and the
This is when
time to
you
get
become
gifted.
creative. And all I'm
This is
saying is,
it.
big corporations, please don't sleep on these peoples, man, because they
Yeah.
coming for it. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Yo, we got some, I know, like, just for honor roll, man, we got some heat that coming off of the last release, man, that we have been cooking up. And it's like, oh, we got to put that on ice right now? No problem. Like, we got some fire that's loaded up in the chamber, man. So,
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
man, for everyone that's attended today, man, we really appreciate y'all coming through and asking
Such a
questions.
blessing, man. I'm so thankful.
Absolutely,
So
bro.
thankful.
We thank you for cutting out time of your day, man.
No,
Just
no
so
problem.
everyone knows, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, for the foreseeable future. So definitely, tap in with us. If there's someone who you would love for us to connect with, definitely, DM us. Yeah, man. Much love to you guys. God bless everyone. We pray that
Yeah,
everyone
man.
is safe and health, with your families.
Absolutely. Stay
Yeah,
prayed
man.
up.
Y'all be cool,
And
man.
also,
Take care.
man, I'm looking forward to seeing like your next, whoever's on here next. And man, this is such a blessing, man. And I appreciate you inspiring the people and giving them something to look forward to, man, for sure.
No doubt, man. I appreciate
All right,
that,
brother.
man. Much
Much
love.
love,
Y'all be
man.
cool.
Much
See
love to
y'all next week,
everybody.
man. All
Yeah.
right.